Nyx is a very old frame. She's been around since the beginning. She is an extremely fun frame to use, and though she doesn't fit the modern meta of Warframe, she's still a very viable frame to play, even in level cap if you so wish to spend the hours to go there. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about something very simple. Why players like Nyx. As I mentioned, she's very old. She's been around for ages, and there's still a player base that has stuck by her through thick and thin until where we are today. And the first thing I'm going to focus on is incredible crowd control. It's probably the main thing most people think of when you think of Nyx. Insane crowd control is undoubtedly a fantastic reason. Though crowd control isn't the best in modern meta, it is undoubtedly still a very useful mechanic for survivability itself. Just casting 3 allows for insane crowd control, throwing all enemies into a state of chaos, as the name suggests, and crowd controlling those enemies. If you wanted to, you could even just cast 1 to mind control an enemy and turn them into your own pawn. Now, speaking of mind control, it can actually be pretty fun. Now, for those that prefer nuking outright, clearing the board, mind control is almost entirely useless because it's very slow. It doesn't do what you want immediately. You take control of an enemy, and if you have the Mind Freak Augment mod, you can increase their damage by a lot more than if you have just the base damage multiplier from the base ability, which will allow you to do an insane amount of damage through them, do some insanely nutty things. For example, if you cast Absorb and store up a lot of damage, and then finally cast it again on a freshly mind-controlled Thrall, then you can get a bonus damage multiplier into the thousands. It's absurd. And that Thrall will do insane damage to the enemies around you, while you essentially just have to stay AFK. So for those that prefer chiller gameplay, Nyx is usually a pretty good option. I'm going to speedrun the next 2. They're very important, but they're also very well known. You have Near-Invulnerability with Assimilate. Assimilate is an augment mod for a 4th ability. It allows you to move around while in the absorb state, even dashing if you want to, though you can't bullet jump or sprint. But just the fact that you can shoot your guns instead of being just camped in that one spot is incredibly useful. And though this does drain your energy, just being invulnerable makes any content in the game easy to traverse. And then next is Armour Stripping with Psychic Bolts. With her Psychic Bolts, you can completely strip enemy armor. This is incredibly important just for doing damage. And if you so happen to have Xmas enemies on the board, you can even strip their overguard and take it for yourself, allowing you to have overguard and strip armor at the same time. It's so incredibly useful. Any way to gain overguard is incredibly useful in this game. It helps out immensely with survivability. And that's pretty much just about it. The reasons people love her is because she's a very powerful crowd control frame. Everything she does pretty much revolves around crowd control and her own survivability. If you have an Assimilate build, though it's not everybody's favorite, you are literally immortal so long as you have the energy to sustain yourself. And if you have good weapons, you can kill enemies with insane ease, and getting a good weapon build in Warframe 2026 is the most absurdly easy thing to do ever. If I had to be honest, I'd say she's more of a comfort frame than anything else because she's safe, reliable, and incredibly relaxing. You don't have to do much to board wipe or clear rooms with her. You just have to let Assimilate build up all the damage you want and then eventually cast it again and deal millions of damage back to the enemies. And with that being said, that is pretty much just about it. So let me know what you think about Nyx, whether you love her, whether you hate her. And if you love her for a reason I simply haven't mentioned, I'd love to hear about that as well. And with that being said, until next time.